what we're talking about this uncomfortable incident in the church a couple of weeks ago. Not actually, as graphic as some of the things which are presently still online, by the way. I mean, we're seeing that there's any number of different examples of things that are still up. I mean, as an example, if you wanted to really protect the hearts and minds of young people, we would be doing something about the scourge of online porn in its entirety, by the way.
Some of the footage is quite extraordinary.
We remain concerned about the role of social media, including the publication of videos that can be very harmful, particularly for younger people.
Do you know what Grindr is?
I do know what Grindr
It's
is.
just like a bunch of old, faithless white men. Kind of like Australian politics.
I mean, I think the danger arises when you allow
Albanese
to pick and choose, because it is an enormous world out there, the internet, and it is just impossible for anyone to collect all of the offensive material. I mean, maybe that should be the case, but I certainly don't like the concept of having these enormous powers in any one individual person's hand. That's my personal position.
I think that Australians will shake their head when they think that this billionaire is prepared to go to court fighting for the right to show
the truth.
I mean, I'll give you another example. The Department of Home Affairs after Christchurch were given the power to refer matters between social media companies or posts that were put up by Australians back to social media companies for the very, perhaps real purpose of having graphic shooting material taken down. Okay, we get it. What happens during COVID? We discovered this through a Freedom of Information application that my office put out. We discovered that not only were the Department of Home Affairs actively engaging with other external companies to sift through the posts of Australians, that they'd actually referred 4,200 posts from Australians back to those companies apparently in breach of the company's own terms and conditions. And many of them had been removed. Many of them were 100% correct. So,
Exactly.
Yesterday's misinformation is tomorrow's truth.
we continue to work with the E-Safety Commissioner and to use what powers at our disposal to...
The truth, that's my style.
Let's have a look at the origin of the words misinformation and disinformation. These two words haven't entered the lexicon by mistake. This has happened quite deliberately, and what we're seeing is a bracket creep of censorship in this country and overseas. And isn't the timing interesting as we head into election cycles?
This is standard procedures.
We have to be very careful not to throw the baby out with the bathwater here. I mean, if you look back at what we're talking about this uncomfortable incident in the church a couple of weeks ago. Not actually, as graphic as some of the things which are presently still online, by the way, and of course, important for highlighting a political point.
This young man who did this act almost 2 weeks ago, I say to you, my dear, you are my son. I'll always pray for you and for whoever was behind this act. In the name of my Jesus, I forgive you. I'll always wish you nothing but the best. I pray that my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ of Nazareth, to enlighten your heart, enlighten your soul, your entire being, to realize, my dear, there is only one God who art in heaven, the creator of all mankind and everything else that is visible and invisible.
So I'm very uncomfortable with bureaucrats having powers to censor. I'm very uncomfortable with them having more powers. I don't understand what more powers this office needs in order to do what they do. We're seeing the matter involving Twitter and X at the moment. That's in the courts, and I don't seek to comment on things that are before the courts, of course, but just in terms of the powers that are available to this office, I mean, I think they're quite draconian. I'm actually very uncomfortable with the powers as they presently are, let alone giving them any more powers.